Welcome to the MicroLife Christmas show. In this month's programme, we have an exclusive interview with the man who hacked Prince Philip's Prestel electronic mailbox. We'll be attempting to create the world's tackiest electronic Christmas card and suggesting presents for the computer buff who has everything.
And I'll be talking to Chris Palmer, if I can stop him playing and make him talk to me, about the past, present and future of computer games. We'll also be unveiling the first ever computer game for over 1 million players. And everyone watching can join in.
Thank you, Bill. And Bill Bruford from King Crimson is here to demonstrate his spectacular electronic drum kit. Well done. And from America, Fref has good news for cartoon fans.
In that picturesque pink building behind me, some very interesting pictures are being made.
On this lost world of humankind, the oldest myth is true.
Beautiful. Jack Tramiel, the new boss of ailing Atari company, announced in London on Wednesday that he's slashing the price of the 800XL by a quarter to £130 with immediate effect. Jack founded Commodore, but left suddenly in January this year. He has now declared war on his old company, saying that he has until the 31st of December to turn Atari round. When we asked him why he'd left Commodore, he said, "If you don't go into your work smiling, you don't go in at all." Well, he's smiling now, so perhaps Commodore had better watch out.
Well, Monday sees the last rites for the game software company Imagine, as the Liverpool auctioneers Turner and Sons sell off the company's remaining hardware in 249 lots. Now, the actual name of Imagine has been taken over by Ocean Software, whose Daley Thompson's Decathlon is still #1 in Gallup's software top 50. The whole story is told on the BBC documentary Commercial Breaks, which goes out at 8 o'clock on BBC Two on Thursday. It really is compulsive viewing.
Now, some correspondence. Ed Edwards was a bit sceptical about the floppy disk that we tried to destroy in last month's programme. He could see how dipping a disk in beer wouldn't affect its performance, but he says, how can anything survive all that Barry Manilow?
He has got a point. Mr. Machin went to stunning lengths to do in his own floppy disks. He told us, "I was charged with 40,000 volts on a Van de Graaff generator while I had a disk in my pocket, and the disk still worked." I wonder if Mr. Machin still worked, though.
Maybe not. Well, John Smith complains that we're doing too much about telephones and telecommunications. But you can't please everybody all the time. And David Craig says, could you please have a bit more on, guess what, telecommunications?
We'll keep trying. We've had over 2,000 people dial into the MicroLive bulletin board, but we've discovered a slight problem, as our storage disks are overflowing. Now, so much so that we've had to start pushing callers off to let other callers on. I'm sorry if that's happened to you. We are hoping to improve the system shortly, aren't you?
Well, our integrated software project has attracted 650 enquiries, from deep-sea divers who want to keep track of their oxygen to vicars who want to help writing their sermons. I keep hearing that story over and over again. I wonder if there really is a vicar. To architects who want a computer to help them rebuild Glasgow. Well, we'll be choosing 3 people to put their applications on the integrated software next week.
And now, serious for a moment, a word of warning. An advert for a company calling itself Spectra Imports UK has been appearing in some computer magazines. Ian MacLeod of Paddington spotted this one in Your Spectrum and phoned us because he was very suspicious of the extremely cheap prices. They offer a Spectrum 48K for £59.95 and a BBC Model B for just £315. It seems too good to be true, and indeed it is. The company is bogus and is currently under investigation by the Lancashire Police. They have managed to recover about 500 letters with money, and these will be returned when their investigations are completed. Meanwhile, listen, if you spot an advert that offers computer products very cheaply, beware. Don't part with your money unless you're absolutely certain it's genuine. Well, Chris, this is certainly a cut above the average arcade game, isn't it? Pictures are stunning.
Yeah. Well, this is state-of-the-art as to what's in the arcade at the moment. It's a game called Super Don Quixote, and as you can see from the quality of the graphics, it's a Laserdisc game. And there's 1,280K worth of memory in there, so you're not actually going to see that on your home micro just yet.
Mind you, things have progressed tremendously in the home micro games field since they first began, haven't they?
Yes, because it only began in 1974 with a guy called Nolan Bushnell who invented the first Pong game. And of course they started coming into our homes in the form of these wonderful things, which I suppose is a techno-antique now, really.
What, 10 years ago, it looks so dated.
I know, it's wonderful. And as you can see, I mean, the graphics leave a little bit to be desired.
Yeah, very simple.
Still a good game, though.
Yeah. I think we were really easily pleased in those days.
Yes. Well, of course, games came really into their own with the arrival of the home computers. And what I'd like to show you now is some of the more exciting directions which games are taking. So we're starting off on this one with a game called Mud.
A multi-user dungeon, but I don't know what you do with it.
Yeah. Well, basically, it's the same as an adventure game, but as opposed to the game being resident in the computer, it's running on a mainframe, which is miles away. And so you tie into it via a modem down the phone line, and it's a huge adventure. So you play it in the same way, you explore and pick up treasure and things like that.
And multi-user, that implies lots of people can use it at the same time?
Oh, there can be hundreds of people on the system, and you can actually run into them as you're wandering around the playing area, and you can chat to them.
And you access that through a Commodore, a modem, and then on the CompuNet system, is it?
Well, yes, on the CompuNet, but you can also get directly in via Essex computer or using a different sort of host computer.
Righty-ho. Well, shall we pop in and see what's going on?
Oh, yes. Whoa, what's going on here? We got, Mac the Wizard has popped in to say hello, and he says, how are you? So...
Are you going to reply to that?
I don't know,
Guess, go on.
I'll say hello back, why not? And so that'll now go down the line and come back.
Oh,
so
hello back.
you said
But
hello.
the lovely thing about something like this is it's totally unpredictable. You really don't know what on earth you're going to get back, do you?
Well, no, and it's a huge playing area, much bigger than you get in there.
Very, very good way of extending or getting round the limitations of memory.
Yes, it's very good. But of course, there are other ways you can do it, which is shown by this game, which is called Quo Vadis, from a company called The Edge. And what they've done is they've written a game that's got 1,000 screens in it. So if you imagine that that's a 14-inch screen, if you were to put them all together and lay them out, you'd have an area of something like 46 feet by 30 feet. And so you can...
That would take a tremendous amount of memory, which this computer hasn't got.
No, you see, that's the clever bit. You see, they've developed a coding system which allows them to shrink that data down into a manageable size.
Yeah.
Now, we've got a bit of cardboard at the back with a diagram, which is going to make this a lot easier to explain.
I'm glad about that.
Yes.
It's quite complicated, isn't it?
Right. So the screen is made up of 6 graphics blocks that all fit together in a variety of combinations, and there are over 100 in the program itself, and you can combine them in different ways to make up the different screens. So when you move onto the screen, the computer takes out 6 bytes of memory, and each of those bytes represents one of these graphic blocks. It then decodes them, so it says, OK, that one there means there's platforms in that bit of the screen, that one means there's a tower, and so on. So it just builds the picture up as you move into the scene.
It takes its choice out of this, which represents the entire playing area. That's it, and that's a screen's worth.
Yeah, just 6 bytes.
Just 6 bytes.
Yeah.
So it's not using anything like its memory capacity. That's excellent. Now, I think we ought to really talk about the object of this game then as well.
Well, basically, the little chap can wander around inside and explore and find things. But there is a catch to this game. Hidden inside somewhere in one of those 1,000 locations is a scepter, and if you find that and answer a couple of questions, there's 30 grand, providing they've sold enough copies of the game.
Hold it! I found the scepter.
Wrong scepter. That's the part of the prize. You get that if you find the scepter in the program.
I thought I'd cracked it.
Good
Never
try,
mind,
though.
it was a nice try. Nice prize, too.
Not bad going.
Real one for a mythical game.
But anyway, both of those are actually on sale this Christmas, so you can buy those if you want. But we're going to have a look at something now, which isn't in the British shots for Christmas. What we've got here is a video disc player interfaced to an MSX computer. And in this game, the computer is controlling the images you see on the screen. Plus, it's also overlaying images of its own on the top. So this provides the sort of the guiding intelligence for the pictures you see here.
Right. But the pictures are actually real, aren't they? I mean, they look terribly real.
Live footage.
It's
almost too real. Yes, it's live footage.
Yeah.
So what you do is, as you move the joystick to the left, or to the right, you can see your perspective changes.
So you're actually jumping lanes, aren't you?
Yeah, trying to avoid the cars and the barrels, and if you don't.
And the horrendous slashes. Right, so this is combining what? 2 mediums, really, isn't it? It's combining the video and then the keyboard and the computer.
That's right, it's getting over the problem. I mean, memory is used up a lot by graphics.
Yeah.
So by having video disc images, you get over that problem.
So you cut out that use of memory altogether,
Yeah.
really, don't you? So you've got your lovely images. Well, I don't know about lovely, it's horrendously
Yes.
real. I feel like I'm actually driving the car.
Yes, I mean, I suppose it's half of the way there, but the illusion is really incomplete because you can only see it. But if you'd like to take a seat, I shall attempt to complete the illusion for you.
I sit down in here, Chris?
Yes, in that little
this
chair
old
there.
chair?
No, it's not an old chair. That must be the ultimate game peripheral.
what you've got either side of your head
Yes.
are two speakers, and in the back of the chair and in the seat of the chair are subsonic drivers.
Yes.
And so we've now wired that into this game. So I'm going to take you
Suddenly
for a
I
little
don't
while.
trust you,
That's
Chris.
all right. Turn up the volume, just sit back and enjoy
I've
it
been
a
waiting
bit.
for this all day,
Yes.
incidentally.
Well,
Right, well, I'll
you're
turn
in
up.
for the ride of
Here
your
we
life.
go.
Okay? So you can feel that a bit better.
Oh, I've had enough.
Right at time.
Oh, it's just as well the game's over. I
Well-
was very lucky there with the sound effects I was getting that you didn't manage to crash me,
Yes, with my driving record so far.
because that would have been pretty
Yeah.
unpleasant.
You still on that lift home?
No, I think I'll go by train.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. Whew. Now, if you don't fancy this overwhelming amount of hardware possibly cluttering up your living room, there's some research going on in the States which could make the whole lot obsolete. Telekinesis is the long-disputed theory of controlling things by the mind. Well, now I know it's not the time or the place for a genuine scientific experiment, but we couldn't resist recruiting you, the audience, to give it some thought, so to speak. I've got a little program on this computer which has been designed by our tame techie Steve in the office, and the program drives this spaceship upwards towards these gates. As it travels upwards, it can go left, right, completely at random, unless, that is, our combined wills could possibly direct it otherwise. What do you think? Well, if you'll all concentrate at home, if everybody will concentrate in the studio, including you, Mac, I want to recruit you for this exercise. OK, we'll have the lights down for atmosphere. That's it. And a little drum roll from Bill, please. And we will now think it through. Think to the left, think to the left, think to the left, think to the left, left, failed!
Rubbish.
Storm there. Now, Christmases are coming far too fast for some of us, actually, and if you've been racking your brains out trying to decide what to buy for the computer buff in your life, worry no more. We are here to help. John Coller's been looking at some of the choices. Now, John, what sort of things are in the shops this Christmas? And I'm not, of course, talking about rushing out spending thousands of pounds on computers.
No, there are
it's
lots,
the bits, isn't
lots
it?
of nice cheap things, good
Okay.
books, software. This is a really nice book, The First Computer Dictionary by Brian Samways. Ideal, nicely illustrated, clear, simple. Ideal for, I would thought, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old.
38-year-olds, thank you, that's my Christmas present. Actually, I'm not kidding, that's going to be very useful.
It's nice.
Yep.
Another good book, I rather like this, online handbook. Loads of information about database you want to dial up if you're a real techie, as Mac would
Lovely,
say.
yeah.
Yeah, Mac, that's for you.
Yeah. Oh, Mind Prober. Now, actually, this is cheating, really, because this is the book that accompanies a programme on the disc. I don't know if you
Right.
can see the disc inside there. It's a programme which is a sort of personality test. It'll cause chaos in your family, I'm absolutely warning you. Computer asks you questions about somebody, you answer it, then the computer tells you what this person is like. Now, we fed Mac into this computer. Do you know what it said?
I hate to
on
think.
this programme, rather. It declared him to be efficient, bossy, sophisticated and irresistible. It got it spot on, didn't
Bar
it,
the
Mac?
last
Anyway,
bit.
but this seriously, it's fun only. Could
Load of rubbish.
ruin your
I mean, it's
Christmas.
marvellous.
Ruin your
Right.
Christmas.
Excellent book here, Robots. This is in the Osborne style, and it really is a carpenter's guide to how to make a robot.
Nice illustrations.
Beautiful illustrations.
What sort of age group, quickly? are we
Oh,
aiming at
7,
there?
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, plus dads.
Yeah.
And there's software deep down here, listings and so on in the back. That's quite fun.
OK, and I mean, you get a lot of book for your money in these two, don't you? The complete Commodore
This is-
64 and the complete Spectrum.
Right,
A lot of
real
book.
good techie stuff.
Now, how about annual subscription to your favourite technical magazine? Good
Well,
idea?
that would be really nice. If someone's going to give me a subscription, I'll be very happy to accept a subscription to Byte. Good mag, every month, really nice.
Now, the obvious thing to buy for Christmas presents is software. But it is a bit of a minefield, isn't it? Unless you know which computer you're buying for.
Yes.
Having said that, and you know, what can you recommend?
OK, well, let's have a look at 3 really good selling ones at the moment. There's Elite on the BBC Micro, and I must admit I got vaguely addicted to that. It's really rather nice. There's Knight's Law on the Spectrum, and 3D Chess on the QL, and the graphics on that really are almost unbelievable.
Yes, even from here, actually, you can see
Quite
they're nice
something.
and clear. Very
Lovely.
nice.
And we've got a couple here. This is Chiller for the Commodore 64, which is retailing $1.99, I gather, one of the cheapest. And Ghostbusters for the Commodore 64. That comes out beautifully. It's the bestseller of the Commodore 64 range and coincides with the launch of the film today. That's really nice. But just look at this one.
Now, what's so special about this one?
Well, this one's for the BBC Micro, and I'm kidding you not. It's published by British Telecom, and it is called The Hacker. And I guess that it must be a self-instructional course for people who... no, it can't be.
Very peculiar logo on it. Well, anyway,
It
yes.
genuinely is British Telecom.
They deserve what they got, really, didn't they?
So
OK,
be it.
well, we've been talking about really the low end of the market,
Yes.
but price-wise, that is. What about if we're going to lash out?
Right, a couple
What
of
do I
more
fancy?
expensive items up here.
Well, I'll tell you what I fancy, actually.
Go on, then.
A Simmons drum kit, but I can't afford it.
Yes.
Since I can't, for about £200, is it?
£200.
I would like the music
Right,
synthesizer.
listen to this. We've got the output of this Acorn product recorded. It's pretty good, isn't it? That
That's
plugs
lovely.
straight into a Beeb Micro and is programmed on the BBC keyboard. £200, quite nice.
Very nice for the music enthusiast,
Yes.
presumably.
Now, tell me about your weakness, because I know you have a particular thing that you...
Well, no, before I was going to ask you, actually, what I could buy you. Isn't that
What you can
generous?
buy me? Oh, well,
yes,
all right, if
supposing
you're
I
gonna
was
do
very,
that.
very rich, for instance.
No problems, absolutely no problems.
It's like real Christmas, actually. It's lovely.
Well, I can take this one away with me. I've got one already, but I'll have another one. This is a Penman plotter, and it's not only a plotter, it's a sort of robot device, which we've seen on this programme a number of times before, but it can drive around and draw some really excellently detailed prints in 3 colours.
Is that compatible with all
It's
micros,
compatible with the
or-
Beeb and Apple and IBM. Special offer till Christmas, under 200.
Right.
That is very, very nice.
Under 200.
Just, well, you
Right.
get a penny.
Well, look, I'll tell you what, I can't quite run to that, so I'm going to give you for Christmas something
Yes.
that I already have one of myself.
Yes, I think
It's
I'll
a
take
micro
it.
kit bag. It costs around £16. Seriously, I've carted my BBC-B around into work and things in it, and it is well designed, it's padded, it's nice and easy to hold.
Yes.
£16.
Pockets the lot.
Pockets the
Thank you
lot.
very much. I'll take that out
Happy
with me if I get away with it.
Christmas. Well, that's all we've got time for, actually. These will have to wait till next year's Christmas. That's all we've got time for, in fact, this year, because our next programme is on Friday, January the 11th, 1985.